Alright guys, now it's loose and I got room and it's the right length because it's not too short and just a little bit of boobage, not too much. And yeah, it was better the other time around. The only thing is I didn't press it that properly because I'm kind of rushing. So that's the only thing, I didn't press it good, but other than that, yeah, it came out better, more like me. Definitely more room. I feel so much comfortable. I don't feel like I'm like that. And I made the belts a little longer as well, so I have room. And there's another thing. When I went to get checked up Monday, and then I went back on Thursday, and I lost 3 pounds already. And then I'm like, I feel kind of lighter because I'm like, yeah, when you start cutting out certain food, I forgot how the first like 2 weeks you see a dramatic change, because your body's kind of like, wait a minute. And then, of course, it kind of plateau after. But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I'm down 5 pounds in 1 damn week. I don't know how. But, well, I do know how. But, glad for it. Let's hope it keeps going. But anyway, let's get into our Dickens. So, read 8 Dickens total now. 3 this year. So, we're going to go into how I feel about them. That kind of, Let's get to it. Alright, guys. Here we go. A lot of Dickens. Pull this top down so I don't give you too much boobage. So, I am a Dickens. Yeah. We know. The man is a character. So, I am very entertained by his books. And I did reviews on all of these except for one. So, this is not going to be a review video. This is more of Dickens I would recommend, my favorite, least favorite, and just little things I noticed about his books. So, if you want a specific review, I will link them in my description so you can just go to those. But one thing about Dickens, that Dickens wrote in the 1800 period when London, the industrial life was, an issue, and poverty, the have and have-nots. In his books, he twisted sometimes. There are a mixture of the rich being the villain or the poor being the villain. He switched it around sometimes. Now, he has a way of ending the book. Either he's going to make you happy or he's going to piss you off. And I've had some pissed off moments in some of his books. But I've also had characters that I love, characters that I thought was hilarious, characters that are memorable, that I'm always going to remember, and I'm always going to be going back to that character because of how he wrote it. He also from an era where he said some things, named some things, got away with some things that no author now would ever be able to get away with. And that's because of the timing. So there are some, racial stuff. There are some, what you call womanizing stuff. There are some religious stuff. There, he has his moments where you're like, did he just say, or did he just name a character that? And you kind of scratch your head and then you have to remember the time period that it was written. So there are people who don't like reading Dickens because they get upset with certain things, or they don't like Dickens because he wasn't a moral person. Let's just be real. He is not about morals. He does have some times where the good guy wins, or the person end up in a good positive state. But how he gets there sometimes is just not the most moral appealing that you want, that books now will probably do. The man didn't care. The man was a writer. He was all about his craft. He's all about telling a story. And most of his stories were newspaper releases that people look forward to every week or every 2 weeks. Someone is going to the newspaper because they wanted to read what was going to happen next in the story. And he captivated his audience that way, and it stood for test of time. I am a Dickens because I feel he is one of the greats as far as writing, as far as being an author, as far as telling a story. And there are so many modern authors that you would never believe who are inspired by Dickens. You can tell by some of their stories, how they write their stories, and you can tell. You definitely, if you read a lot, can tell the inspiration that some of these modern authors get from the classic. So, let's dig into some Dickens. I'm going to put some of them down because there's some beasts in here, okay? There's some beasts in here. So, what I'm going to start with is what I just finished reading. I'm not going to talk much about this because when I read this at first, I was kind of like, I was picked up like, how come I have never read this? And I realized, it's not a new to me story, because there's so many people have done a twist to this that when I'm reading it, I'm like, yeah, you know, the Ghosts of Christmas Past. You know, we've had, I mean, I'm a Hallmark girl, so I've seen so many, version of it. And also because I've read a lot of his other books, I was like, look at Dickens being nice. Look at him being nice. Look at him saying, be a good person. Because, you know, when you die, no one's going to care. So I was like, all right, Dickens, you were being nice in The Christmas Carol. It definitely is a Christmas story. It definitely is one of those feel good, do the right thing, especially if it was like allowed time. It is marketed to kids because, you know, you got to be a good person, that kind of deal. So with that, he did good. I liked it. All right, so then we're going to go to if I had to pick my favorite Dickens as of right now, it would be Nicholas Nickleby. I read this year. Now, this is where family drama and secrets just intertwine. And, you know, the role of a woman and poverty, what you won't do for money kind of deal. And how there are family that can screw you. And he wrote this in this where, you know, family screw you in essence. And I love the journey in this. This was one of the most easiest, I would say, if you want to pick up a Dickens, I would say pick this one up because of the writing style. It is one of his easy ones. This is one of the ones that you can get in. You're not going to have that where you have to maybe reread a section because you don't understand something. No, this one is, to me, one of the easiest written Dickens book. And love it. The storyline will get you. It is chunky, but it's the kind of chunky that there is always something going on. And guys, that whole movie, don't do the movie. The movie don't do this book justice, because the movie cut out the struggle. There's a lot of struggling going on in this book, and the movie cut a lot of that out. So you definitely need to read this book. Love it. The best Dickens for me. Then we have Bleak House, which is another one I read. When it comes to writing, you can see how he evolved in this story. The writing in this story was everything. Like, he really was on, if I was going to say as far as all the books writing, this one and another one I will tell you about where the writing is just marvelous. Like, he really was in his zone when he was writing this book. It is a bit dark. It also has tale of secrets and, you know, people fighting over a will that has been modified so many times, and it's just years of decades, you know, of them, you know, not getting resolved, and how some things can suck you in. That whole idea of this is mine. It can suck you in, and you get that in this. But I enjoyed this. This is another one I read this year. It's a chunker, but it's really good. This is the second one where I would say the writing is amazing. But this book went... I feel like every time I pick this book up, I want to go into a rant. This book ended in a way that every time I want to clutch my neck. I want to like tell the author, what? This is the book that I felt like, yeah, a man wrote this ish. A man wrote this. That's how I felt about this book. And of course, I mean, A Tale of Two Cities. It is a very good book. I'm not going to take that from it. I'm just that person that was like held to the no kind of reaction of certain things that happened towards the end. I was held to the no. When I read this, which was about 6 years ago, I remember going to work and telling one of my manager at the time that I just finished this book, and I was telling him how frustrated I was. The man recited the entire first paragraph of this book. The entire... I was just like, how? How? It was his favorite book. You know, it was the best of time. It was the worst of time. Yeah. Y'all know the rest. The whole paragraph, which you know was a run-on paragraph. But it's one of the most infamous paragraphs in a book. You say that paragraph, everybody know what book it is. That kind of deal. He loved it. I was like, yeah, it's a good book. But my God, the ending. I'm sorry. That's some man-ish. That's all I got to say. But read it. Then you have Great Expectation. This is one of my mother's favorite book. One of two that she's... And this one where she said she'll reread over and over. So when I read this, I understood. This is another one of his story that it's more of defining what it means to be a gentleman. Or can a gentleman be made? That kind of thing. And it did it in a way that you see the secrets and the things that's happened to the main character. And I was really on my tippy toe for the end. But then I was like, yes. Dickens didn't piss me off. Because this was the second book. The first book I read from Dickens was A Tale of Two Cities. Which was around 6 years ago. About 6 years ago. Maybe 7. And this one, it took me at least 4 years to pick up this one. So that gives you an idea how much I was like, I just did not want to pick up another one. So when this ended, I was just like, yes, all right, you got me now. Let me keep on going. Let me keep on going. And I really enjoyed this one. And I get why this was my mom's one of my mom's favorite book of all time. And she loved it. She would reread it again. So yeah. And then Oliver Twist. I read this last summer, and this one also was a story that, you know, you kind of don't know. He has a way of twisting, like I said, where the poor could be the villain, the rich could be the villain. And this way, you know, you see a little poor situation be the villain. He also, I mean, I'm sure he pissed people off with what he called a particular character didn't have a name. He was called by his religion. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, you know. This one has a lot of things about it that was like, but I loved it. It was definitely an adventure, and you know, how things were going around with this particular kid. And that ending where, you know, the winner, like the good guy won kind of ending, you get that in this. But this, no, he had some things he said in this that was like, wait a minute. Then my least favorite Dickens, and that will be The Old Curiosity Shop. And that's because if you read this, you know the ending was like, just imagine a book put you on this adventure. It's like you on this adventure, you're doing all of this, and then when you get to the end, he just like did the unthinkable that any matter of fact, any book where author do that to the end, you would get pissed. And I felt like you took us on this long, everlasting ride. There was some filler. There was some moments in the book that he could have just eliminated a couple of pages. But he took you on this long, everlasting adventure with this poor old man and this girl that is being sought after by these nasty old men. That's the best way I can put it. And just to see what happened at the end, I'm like, really, Dickens? You did that to us? You really did that to the reader. You really put us on this journey and ultimately did that at the end. You know, this book ending was just like, this trash. This trash. I was just like, no. No. No, 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 no. No. But there were some interesting characters in this. The whole Curiosity Shop, there's a lot of odd characters. There's a lot of things that pertain to the whole title. And I read this with Didi. I remember never really caught it on first. She caught it on real in the beginning, and I was just like, oh, didn't even think of that. And then we really enjoyed it. So I buddy read actually two of this and Nicholas. No, we buddy read three of this one, Oliver Twist and Nicholas Nickleby. So but we're definitely gonna do some more. I'll tell you the ones the one particular for next year. And then the most entertaining, like when I tell you I was freaking hollering in this damn book, because this Little Dorrit, it is another cleverly written Dickens, because you are in two different kind of worlds in this. You are in the beginning where you have a man who is in a debt prison, and he's in there with his daughter. His other two kids, when they got of age, decided that they don't want no part of this and left. And then things happen, secret reveal, certain things, and he was released. So now he went from being in a debt prison poor to now considered wealthy. And how two different, you gotta think about it, he was in debt prison for many years. I mean, his daughter, Little Dorrit, grew up in there. So, and she's like, 20 maybe, something like that. She's fairly young. So it's almost maybe 2 decades he's been in there. And how he now has wealth. And what do you do with that? What do you do when you've been in a debt prison and can't get out? Your daughter can leave as she will. Anybody can come visit you at a certain time, but you can't. And now you're out, and let's just see how things change and how do you respond? How do you mentally get through all of that? It was that kind of story, which I love. But my God, the women, yeah, I know. There were some bitches in there. There were some bitches. So I gotta say, and they had me freaking laughing. I was just like, yo. But it also had that ending. I love the ending. The ending was so good. I was just like for this. Again, it's a chunky one. It's a chunky one, but it's worth it. I enjoyed this. This is I think more like the entertainment value. I got a lot of laugh out of this one. So what I would say is, if I had to rank them, of course, Old Curiosity Shop would be the last. Then I will put A Tale of Two Cities next, as far as, because I didn't like the ending. The Christmas Carol. Then I would say Oliver Twist next. Great Expectation next. Little Dorrit, Bleak House, and then Nicholas Nickleby. So let me pick these up. So this is how I would rank them if I had to. So I would say Nicholas Nickleby, it's an easy one to read. You won't have an issue. Of course, The Christmas Carol, you should definitely read that. That's an easy one. I would say Great Expectation if you're a newbie. The Tale of Two Cities if you're a newbie. Only because I think the writing style is just amazing in that. But if I would say wait for to Bleak House, I wouldn't read Bleak House early, and I wouldn't read Little Dorrit early, because those are chunkers and those are very much English, classic English style writing. So it's going to be take you a little longer to even grasp some of that at first if you're not used to his writing style. I think because I'm used to his writing style now, I don't struggle as much. But if I had to start off with these two books, you know, I would have struggled. Nicholas Nickleby, to me, writing style, you won't struggle at all. You will have, and if you're a person that you felt like you struggled with Nicholas Nickleby, let me know, because I didn't think it was a struggle book at all. But this is how I would rate them. And yeah, we're gonna end this here, guys. So, all right. Oh, shucks, forgot to tell you, the next book that I want to read is David Copperfield. David Copperfield. That's gonna be my next Dickens, and there's a few more I want to read, but that will be my next Dickens. So anyway, guys, see you in the next. Bye.